Hello, everyone. I'm Rick Zanotti, and this is eLearn Chat. Does your voiceover sound different? Does it sound different from one of your voice talents? Do you know why? Here's some reasons. This show is sponsored by Relate Corporation. Visit us at www.relatecasts.net. Thanks. Hi again. A lot of times we ask people to do voiceover, or we do our own voiceover, and all of a sudden it doesn't sound right. What happened? Well, a lot of things can happen. Here's something to consider. When you wake up in the morning, your voice will sound a certain way. For example, I live in a dry climate. So when I get up, my throat's a little dry. I've got to drink quite a bit of water, kind of loosen it up. And then when you talk, you may have a little bit of that clearing the throat. Pretty common in a dry environment. You may be in a humid environment where you wake up and you're gunky because you've got too much mucus or whatever in the throat. That can happen too. The bottom line is the same result. You may have, you're clearing your throat. Now, if you do voiceovers only for people in your company or something else, maybe you're not a professional voice talent, but you do enough of it that you want to make sure that your voice is consistent. Now, I'll give you a hint. No matter how consistent you are, your voice will change throughout the day. What will affect the voice? Well, let's say you like coffee in the morning and you have a cup of coffee. That will change your voice, and it may muddy up your voice. Not that coffee will muddy you up per se, but it can. It makes your brain a little sharper, but the voice a little muddier. You may have a soft drink. Maybe that's got too much caffeine. It starts hyping you up a bit. Your voice gets higher, or it gets lower. How do you control that? Well, part of it is the speed at which you're talking. If I talk really fast, my voice is going to get faster only because I'm talking faster. If I talk slow, then I can make my voice sound a lot more paced because now I'm talking more slowly. The slower you talk, the deeper your voice gets. This goes for women too. The higher your voice gets, that means you're usually talking way too fast. The day goes on. Maybe you've had something to eat. Maybe you've had a snack. You've had a chocolate bar. Imagine what that does to your bronchial tubes and your voice. It gets skunky. End of the day, it's 2, 3 o'clock, you have to do something, and your voice just isn't as strong as it is in the morning. Or maybe it is, but you're tired. Maybe you record something at 4 or 5 in the afternoon, now you're really tired. Or maybe you get a second win and at 7, 8 o'clock, hey, your voice sounds great again because you haven't used it in a couple of hours. Follow the drift. Using your voice too much can make your voice sound differently from other times. So that's something that can happen. Also, you may change your microphone. Every mic, no matter how good or bad the mic is, will have a different sound. For example, right now I am on a mic called the Electro Voice RE27ND for neodymium. It's a special kind of magnet they use, and it's a dynamic microphone. This has the sound of a condenser mic, which is usually warmer. But it's also a tad grittier because it's dynamic. These are mics that were built for either radio or any situation where you may have a room which may have more noise than you want getting into the microphone. And if you notice, this thing has ribs, little ribs right here, which help block noise, much like a shotgun microphone. So this is a very good mic. It's not the warmest mic on earth, but it's a pretty good mic, and it's going through what we call the Aphex Studio channel. I'm sorry, it isn't. This is going through the ART, A-R-T, vocal processor or vocal studio. That is a compressor, limiter, and gate. We won't talk about that now. We have a course on Udemy if that's what you want to learn, all about audio basics. A condenser mic is warmer, richer. A dynamic mic is a little colder, a little harsher sometimes, because again, they're used a lot for live performances where you may be in a very noisy environment, or for radio or driving in a car. This will pop out better than a condenser. Though, if you like to listen to FM, that's a lot of condenser work because condensers are warm. Anyway, getting back to your voice. in the later afternoon or in mid-mornings or whatever, your voice changes. If you change locations or microphones, your voice will definitely change. So if you're doing a recording today and you get through 2 chapters of an e-learning course, for example, and the next day you come in and change a mic, it will sound different. It'll be very obvious that you change microphones. If you change the hours in which you record, it will sound different. If you record a full day, your voice from the morning to afternoon will usually sound different. Will it be grotesquely different? No, but it could be. You have to be careful. It could be just different enough to make people really irritated or wonder what just happened to you. Are you getting near a heart attack? What happened to your voice? Gee, you sound dead. That could happen. So you have to be careful with when you use your voice and take breaks. You know, I'd say a good thing, if you're going to talk for an hour or 2, let's say you have to talk for 2 hours, take a 10-minute break in between that if you can. If you're doing a live webinar or training or just a live Microsoft Teams meeting or Zoom, if it runs for over 2 hours and you're the main person speaking, get somebody else to talk, because what's going to happen, your voice is going to get tired. Have always some water on hand. You can have soft drinks, you can have coffee, tea. They can all mess up your voice a little bit. So be careful what you put in. Coffee in particular will not be good for your voice. It can mess up the vocal cords. Tea can be okay. A little bit of tea and honey can do wonders. Be careful with the caffeine, because caffeine can also make your voice sound a little different because it may hurry you up. Again, keep the same tone in your voice. Don't change it. Don't start talking like this. Welcome to the course. My name is so-and-so, and today you're going to learn this. Now we're in Chapter 1. Hey, Chapter 1 is where you're going to learn how to do that, and this. Welcome to Chapter 2. In Chapter 2, we'll learn the following. If you do that, you're going to drive people crazy. Not to mention, when you hear it, you'll probably think, oh my gosh, what have I done? You've just created bad voiceover. If you hire voiceover talent, what happens? The same thing. If they don't know what they're doing or they don't know themselves well enough, they will get tired. Their voice will start going. They'll make mistakes. You'll hear it in the voice from a recording they did a week ago. For example, here's something that happens all the time. We just did one of these. You record your voiceover for a half-hour course, or you send it out for voiceover recording. Sounds great. 2 weeks later, they go, oh, you know what? We changed. We had an overarching change, and now it all needs to change. Ah! That's not good. Now you have to send it out again, and your voice talent may record on a totally different day. They may be very tired. They may have a cold. They may have a sinus thing going on. They may just be talking at different hours, different times of the day, or they had coffee, whatever. And it sounds different. Maybe you've only wanted them to record 3 slides out of 30. You have a problem. And no matter how hard you try to match the volume, the tone, you equalize it, you do everything you can to get it to sound the same, it won't. It'll be a little bit different. Will people notice? A trained ear would. An e-learning student who's already numb from the pain, they may not, because they're in a coma from what they're learning. It's probably so boring. But I digress. It can still cause issues. So you want to make sure that if you really have a long time between recordings, re-record the whole thing. I know it's a little more expensive sometimes, or it would take you a little longer to edit, but it's well worth it because you will have some big differences. We had one recently where the lady did not have a studio. She did not have a good microphone. Well, she had a fairly good mic we had sent her, but she was in a big hallway of a room with wooden floors and a lot of blank, empty walls, and it was very echoey. So we had her go to a different area, and she recorded pretty well because her son had she had a better microphone and a closer, tighter environment with better walls. So it sounded pretty good, but she missed one line that she re-recorded afterwards, and it was different. And we went, oh dear. So we had to actually have her go back to see her son and re-record it again because it was so different. And we had a $1,000 piece of software that usually can match stuff. No, it didn't. Thank God we didn't buy that $1,000 piece of software. We were using a trial to see if it would work. We have other pieces of software that can do the same thing, but they couldn't do it. So we figured maybe the $1,000. No, it was just as bad. Meaning some things, no matter how good the software, can't be fixed. So keep those things in mind. The time of day, what your voice sounds like in the morning, the afternoon, and nighttime. It will be different. Which one do you prefer? Record when you have the energy and you feel your voice is good enough to reproduce. Know yourself, know your voice, and remember to take breaks. Your voice, like any other muscle, will get tired. It'll get tired. The more tired it gets, the more lame your voice will get. You'll start sounding like this because there's no more air coming into you. You are tired. You're very tired. You don't want that. So, and the other thing is keep the location the same. If you change your locations, your voice will change. If you change your microphones, your voice will change. All of those could be ruined for the voiceover you're trying to do. If your voiceover talent has many microphones, like we do, make sure they use the same microphone for the same client, same project. Ideally, what they should be doing, if they don't write these down in a log, write it down as part of the name of the audio. So, for example, you could put something like, let's just say you have compliance 101 underscore, maybe put the date, and then put Electro Voice RE27, so you don't forget. Because the next time you go in, you may have a different mic on the boom. I do this all the time. I'm always changing mics. I have nothing better to do sometimes. I like changing mics. When you like microphones, you just want to have a different sound sometimes. That is not good for voiceover. Maybe on a show it's okay, but you don't want to do it for different voiceover assignments. Keep it the same. The only way you'll remember that is by writing it down somewhere and check before you do the next voiceover. Keep it consistent, keep it good, keep the same loudness, and use the same equipment. If you change locations, then re-record the whole thing because it will be that different. That's it. If you have any questions, you can put them down below. This is going to LinkedIn and it's going to Facebook. Put the questions down below and we will try to get back to you as soon as possible. Keep talking, keep enjoying yourself, buy a lot of mics, have fun, and we'll see you very soon on the next eLearn Chat. Have a good one, everyone. Bye-bye.